Do you know any good sushi restaurants around here? All the ones I've tried are no good.
No, I can't say I do, I'm sorry.
Oh no, my back hurts so badly.
Oh, you should try going to a masseuse. My husband went the other day and he loved it.
Oh really? Yeah, because that session took so long.
Oh, hello again.
Hi.
The courtroom was so cold.
It wasn't that cold. You were just probably getting sick.
I'm not sick.
Alright everyone, let's take our seats. Please sit in order of your rank from lowest to highest, starting from my left. Thank you. Am I late? Just getting started. Okay, good. Let's just get this over with. Alright, we are here to determine if the late Lieutenant Commander Orm is guilty or not guilty of the murder of 15 of his crew members. First, the scenario that led him to make his choice. Submarine was on a mission to determine the effectiveness of a pair of new stabilizers. The sub was then struck by a drifted acoustic or magnetic mine and began to descend. The sub ended up 40 fathoms down on top of a sandbar, where the bow and stern tanks were flooded, the bow planes were immovable, and the steering gear was jammed. They had no tender ship available, the planes were grounded due to the storm, and there was only enough air for them all for less than 2 days. So now the question is, were his actions justified in legal and moral standing? Let's take the preliminary vote. Those in favor of not guilty, please raise your right hand. Those in favor of guilty. I see, and am I correct in saying that the people who have not voted are undecided?
Well, I think we should discuss this before we decide if Orm's guilty or not.
We are certain that the Lieutenant Commander took the lives of 50 men to provide enough oxygen for 5 men to survive until the rescue arrives. There was only enough for the rest of them to last for at least 2 days. He chose to take the lives of 50 men.
I disagree. The tender was unavailable and the backup tender was only like 400 miles away and would take 5 whole days to get to them. And plus the planes were grounded due to the storm.
Well, we can also say that the submarine was in a really bad state, and there was not possibly resurfacing or giving them any means of escape whatsoever. They would have died, so he didn't have a choice.
That's not true. His choices were just limited. He could have chosen to have the crew take a vote. He could have chosen to have them all die. He made the decision without any consultation, making him liable for the murders committed in the sub.
However, according to naval law, he was their commander, which means that he had control of the lives of everyone aboard that ship, and there was nothing they could do about it. They had to follow his orders.
You are correct in saying that he had to blindly follow his orders. However, did he give the orders for them to drink the poison? No, he did not, out of his own volition, and then proceeded to do the same for himself.
Well, maybe giving them poison was the most compassionate way of killing them. That way there'd be no psychological trauma before they died. And, depending on the type of poison used, it could have minimized their pain.
Well, imagine the fear they had when they first realized they were dying and there was nothing they could do about it. So much for the psychological damage.
And by the way, some poisons such as cyanide do cause pain, by the way. But how do we know that it was painless? What if we gave them a drug that caused pain, not death?
I have something to say too. If there was no psychological damage, what about those 5 survivors who lived? Aren't they gonna go through the psychological trauma of witnessing those murders?
You know, we should talk about more relevant information that we know for sure.
You're right. Let's bring up something relevant, like the fact that he chose who lived and who died. Thoughts?
Well, married men deserve to live. He made the right choice.
Yeah, he did save a lot of trouble for the wives and the children of those 5 men.
Who's he to say that those months were never to have families for their own? Now that not having a family means that they're less important for people that do have families?
Don't have any responsibilities. On the other hand, married men had both a wife and children to take care of.
But if they were to die, their families would still get a pension. It's not like the Navy just forgets about them.
their families would be taken care of. However, these men who have died have no one to provide for and no one to mourn their deaths, and they will be forgotten. Is that justice?
But the pension would be less than what the men could have gotten for their family?
Whoa. So now we're weighing their lives based on how much profit their family will get?
Wait! Growing up with a father is worth so much more than some pension. My friend's father died when she was only 3 years old. Her mother took her to various sessions of therapy, but it turns out all she needed to cure her depression was the presence of a father in her life.
Of course, it's possible that people need a father in their lives. However, that does not give the captain the right to decide whose lives are more valuable than others. How would you feel if your husband was killed on the spot because someone else was worth more to the captain than he is? Would you still feel sympathetic to the captain then?
They could have been future fathers too. Think about all the unborn children and ununited families.
But fine. Guilty.
Let's take a second vote. All in favor of guilty? All in favor of not guilty? Any undecided? Okay then, explain your side.
Well, I was thinking about the future of the Navy. Those fathers would stay in the Navy because they need to support their family, and their children would want to follow in their father's footsteps.
I agree, so in the future we have more volunteers join the Navy and the government would have to pass conscription. However, on the opposite side, having them die honorably could in fact inspire children to join the Navy and finish what the fathers, could not.
Wait, it could also make the children hate the Navy no matter what.
Let's stop talking about families and children and talk about hard facts. He murdered 15 men.
Yes, murder means taking other people's lives, and he took 15 lives on purpose.
That's first-degree murder. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a planned and deliberate homicide.
No, that's second-degree murder. He no planned it out, but it was intentional.
He had time to contemplate about it.
There was a short period of time.
What Sam is actually accusing him of is manslaughter. It would seem that he had enough time to plan to choose a poison, who's going to die, who's going to commit the act. Therefore, there was time of contemplation, which makes it a first-degree murder.
Well, whatever type of murder it was, this individual doesn't deserve patience.
I see your point. I'm just not sure it's fair to condemn his family for it. He did it out of compassion, not vengeance.
Compassion or not, he killed 15 people with full knowledge of what he was doing. That means he's guilty. And he did it without an investigation. He just trusted the machines.
I mean, how often do they work perfectly? That's negligence.
Maybe just knowledge of the subject is limited. As you know, the submarine runs back condition anyway. It's like the steering gear was jammed, the boat and steering tanks were flooded, not to mention that the boat planes are movable. So it was lucky the submarine wasn't leaking.
Well, maybe he and his crew could have done something to minimize the ship's damage.
It doesn't matter, we're talking about the oxygen supply here. God.
Or maybe to build a better submarine with stabilizers that actually work.
Well, that was the purpose of the mission, to test out the stabilizers.
Either way, they couldn't have all survived with the amount of oxygen they had left. He was lucky that his plan had worked at all. No one did the math on how much oxygen they had left. Who knows? It could have been days or weeks they miscalculated by. He just got lucky, that is all. Besides, not paying his pension would save money for the Navy.
I'll lose more money for the precaution of the 5 men he didn't kill, and their families. You know what? I'm just gonna say that he's guilty, okay? He didn't take enough precautions before determining their fate, and it's not fair on anyone's part.
Never thought of that. Frankly, wouldn't it have made a difference if he actually looked around the submarine?
I suppose it would have bought him more time to contemplate his decisions. Or maybe to find something in the ships that could increase the air supply.
Well, it's all circumstantial, but if they found extra ballast tanks, they could have used the air to last them a couple more days. So theoretically, yes, if they looked around, it could have changed things. Maybe.
All he did was take the shore station's word that they have no means of rescue.
Guess that settles it then. He took action too quickly and good men paid for it.
Now then, ladies and gentlemen, your verdict. All in favor of not guilty, put your hands up. How about for guilty? I guess it's decided then. Lieutenant Commander Orm is hereby guilty of 15 counts of murder in the first degree. Discussion closed.
That took forever. I am hungry.
Wanna go for sushi?
With you? Why not? Let's go.